Virtually everything. Everything from public art, recreation to downtown. We need to do a lot of big things in this community, and I see the input of youth as being absolutely critical. One of the things that I will ask any youth that I encounter is what changes would they like to see in their neighborhood, because really, youth have an important role to play. They live in this community, they play in this community, they have fun in this community. They're eventually going to be working in this community, so every decision that's going to be made is going to affect them. So I'm hoping going forward to get a lot of feedback from youth as we go forward on every issue.
The issues in Wood Buffalo that I think might benefit the most from having youth input are in areas such as environmental stewardship. It's my impression that young people are getting a strong education in environmental stewardship in schools these days, and that they are keenly interested in what the actors in their country are doing to ensure that we are preserving our environment. So I see that as certainly one where I think we could get a lot of input. There's other areas to recreation, to a large extent, youth are the users of our recreational facilities. I'd like to hear from them as much as I hear from the people on the adults on the boards that run these recreational activities. There's other areas, school programming, not really our technical responsibility, but I'd like to hear from them what role they think their schools are playing, and things like library programs. I know the library is always very engaged with youth, so those are just some of the areas I think they would have input that we're not getting right now. But on the other hand, they may have ideas on everything. I'm not going to preclude them from talking to us about anything, but that's just what occurs to me as some of the areas that would be most interesting to hear from them on.
I think there are a number of issues. I think drugs is a big one. I mean, it's terrifying the amount of young people that are dying through the use of fentanyl and other illegal drugs. I think law enforcement, government agencies are all trying to figure out effective ways to influence young people and get them involved. So I think getting them involved in the solution is the best solution. Young people sometimes they want to experiment. They want to try new things. Some of the drugs on the street right now are terribly dangerous, and unfortunately, that experimentation could cost somebody their lives. Parents can say that until they're blue in the face. I know my own kids. I can't tell you how often I've said something to them, and until they experience it themselves, they don't necessarily believe me. So we have to be really proactive in getting kids involved. So drugs is one of the things. Recreational activities, what do kids need? At one time it was skate parks. Is it still skate parks? I don't think skate parks are as important to young people today. So is that less important now than it was 10 years ago? So I think we always have to kind of stay on top of things and get our young people involved and the youth in our community involved to make sure we understand what is valuable and what is important. I always had my kids' friends at my house, and when I was asked why, it was because I always knew what they were doing, and I always knew they were safe, and I could always find activities that they could do. It's essentially the same principle. Get kids involved, find out what's important to them, and see whether we can't support that.
Well, I think there's a few issues that would really benefit from being addressed by the youths, and that would be Bill C-21, C-8. And those bills are obviously going to cut the income of Wood Buffalo from our industry taxpayers quite significantly. So our budget is going to be lowered. So it's going to become even more important what choices we make with our budget, and what social programs we implement, and what do you want? What services would you mind being cut? What services would you like to see more of? Social programs, for instance. And I definitely think Bill C-45 is going to be a big issue, because the legalization of marijuana is going to is really going to change the whole region, and to see how the youth would like to address the policies made around that. Like, do they want marijuana around them? Should there be specific areas where you can smoke marijuana in town? These are all issues that are still up in the air. And the next thing is although it's far off from a youth, our seniors aging in place facility and our retirement homes. For the youth's parents, they're going to want to be in those homes and not have to be brought into the 4th floor of the hospital or have to move down to Edmonton away from their children. So I think keeping the community together now is really important, to bring in the seniors and the youth together to help make all these policies.